Hi, welcome to Simply Sports for this Wednesday, January the 29th. My name is Andy Williams. Thank you for tuning in. As all of you have probably known, we lost a legend this past Sunday. We lost an icon. And I didn't really give a take on this yet. Kobe Bryant, five-time NBA champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist, 18-time All-Star, 11-time first-team NBA, 9-time All-Defensive NBA, died in a helicopter crash along with his 13-year-old daughter and 7 other people, which included the pilot, this past Sunday. At first, when I heard of the news, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is completely and utterly fake. And I was just like, this can't be right. This can't be true. But sure enough, all the other media outlets came in and it was true. I think with Kobe Bryant, we saw Kobe Bryant grow up with our own eyes, basically. 17-year-old kid that came from Philadelphia high school, drafted to the NBA on the Los Angeles Lakers, to become a 3-time NBA champion with Shaquille O'Neal and have that dynasty, to a 2-time NBA champion without Shaq. He was the NBA MVP for 2007, 2008, I believe. He scored 81 points in a game. Only Wilt Chamberlain can say he scored more. And in his final game ever, he scored 60 points. What a curtain call. And it's hard. It really is. When you lose such a great player, but it's even more painful when he dies so young. I mean, 41 years old. I mean, he was just beginning the second part of his life. Teaching his daughter how to play basketball. And no doubt his daughter was going to go to UConn and become arguably, and you could see it already at age 13, she was going to become the second coming of Kobe Bryant. It was clear and evident just how much knowledge she had of the game at age 13 that she developed from her father. And now we're not going to see that. Obviously, condolences to the families also affected. I know one of them was a AA baseball coach from Cape Cod. And then there was another family involved as well. However, this is a sad, sad week. The Clippers and the Lakers, they postponed their game last night. The Lakers will play their first game on Friday night. And this is a tough pill to swallow. It really is. Not just for the players, but for the fans. I mean, I'm not a Lakers fan under any circumstances. I know a lot of my friends, or a good chunk of my friends, aren't Lakers fans either. Some of them are. But there was one thing that was universally we agreed on, and that we respected Kobe Bryant's game. And he played basketball the correct way. He went hard on both sides of the ball, 100% for 48 minutes. And the only other person that I could think of that did it better than that was Michael Jordan. My condolences to the Bryant family. And also Gigi, his 13-year-old daughter that died as well. And if I could, as I wrap up this segment for Kobe Bryant, I just want to do in honor of his number, which I think should be retired. Actually, both of his jersey numbers, 8 and 24, should be retired from basketball completely. I want to do a 24-second moment of silence for Kobe Bryant. Thank you. Okay, now I have to do a sports show now, and it's obviously going to be a little tough for me to do that. So here we go. I'll try to get through this. Episode 98 of Simply Sports. We start out with the local flavor, of course. The Hoosier boys basketball team lost both games to Terryville and Thomaston, dropping their record to 1-10. Their next game is home on Friday night against Litchfield and at Chippewa on Tuesday night. The girls basketball team split both their games, losing to Thomaston, very close game, and blowing out Terryville by 28 points. Their record is now 7-5. They are one win away from qualifying for the state tournament once again. Their next games are at Litchfield on Friday night and home for Chippewa on Tuesday. Hoosier ice hockey lost to New Milford 6-3 last Wednesday night, and they beat Suffield 4-2, a much-needed win, which puts their record now at, I believe, 4-7. Tonight, they are at JBWA. And then Monday night, they are home at Hotchkiss against Newtown. So good luck to all of the Housatonic athletics coming up this week. To all my wrestling fans, the Royal Rumble has come and gone. No real big surprises here. Drew McIntyre won the Men's Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair won the Women's Royal Rumble. No real title changes happened. In fact, it was pretty predictable. It was pretty much like the Grammys on CBS. I pretty much got every prediction right except for one in the Royal Rumble, just like I did in the Grammys. I pretty much got every prediction right except for one. And now they have some interesting angles coming out of the Royal Rumble. Drew McIntyre is going to challenge Brock Lesnar for the title at WrestleMania. And what's Charlotte Flair going to do? Charlotte Flair said, and there's a rumor going around that she's going to be at NXT tonight. Could she be challenging the NXT champion, Rhea Ripley, for the title at WrestleMania? Who knows? Edge came out of a 9-year retirement at the Royal Rumble, and that seed has already been planted to challenge Randy Orton at WrestleMania after the vicious attack that Randy Orton gave him. And good for Edge coming back off of triple fusion neck surgery to being able to compete in a ring again. I mean, good for him. I mean, they said Daniel Bryan wouldn't be able to compete again, but lo and behold, he's in the title picture. Edge just signed a 3-year contract with WWE. He was very truthful in his promo, if you get a chance to watch it. He said, I don't know how long this ride's going to last, but he hopes he's going to end on his terms. So, those were the 3 things I took out of Monday Night Raw and the Royal Rumble. Tennis. Rafael Nadal upset last night by Dominic Thiem at the Australian Open. So Rafael Nadal will wait to try and tie Roger Federer for most major championships. David Zverev beat Stan Wawrinka in 4 sets. Now the semifinal on the other side. Novak Djokovic, who's been seemingly cruising through, meets up with Roger Federer. Roger Federer has had his problems in the Australian Open. He's had 2 5-set matches. His last match against Thomas Sandgren from the United States in the quarterfinals, he had to fight off 7 match points. 7. And he still found a way to win. This semifinal is going to be very interesting tomorrow night. I believe it's tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure it might be tonight. Anyway. Novak Djokovic versus Roger Federer in the other semifinal. And Roger better be playing a whole lot better than he has been playing, or else Novak Djokovic is going to wipe the floor with him. So. Now, moving to football. Tune in to me on Saturday night, 7 o'clock. I'm doing an hour-long show of nothing but the Super Bowl. San Francisco, Kansas City, up and down the line. If you have your predictions for whoever's watching right now, type in your prediction on who's going to win the Super Bowl. Right now. Go ahead. Just go ahead and type it in. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. I'm going to give my prediction Saturday night. I will say this, though. It's going to be one hell of a game. That's all I will say until Saturday. But for football, Eli Manning officially retired last week. Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl champion, a 60% completion percentage. However, he won 117 games and lost 117 games. He led the league in interceptions 3 times. And some are making the argument that he is not a Hall of Famer. In fact, Deion Sanders went on record and said, we're letting too many people into the Hall of Fame. Okay, well, let me just say this about Eli Manning. And this is coming from a fan of the Dallas Cowboys who had to look at Eli Manning throughout his career since 2004. Eli Manning, from a stretch from 2007 to 2013. That 6-year stretch, you could make the case that he was easily one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. If it was a close game and they needed that fourth quarter 2-minute drive, Eli could do it. Eli didn't have as many weapons as some of the other quarterbacks did, like Rodgers or Breeze or Brady during that time frame. But he always had a defense that backed him up. Always did. And Eli Manning can take to his grave that he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl not once, but twice during the Brady-Belichick era. And one of those times, he ruined history and ruined the perfect season that the Patriots were riding in 2008. So Hall of Famer for Tom Brady, or for Eli Manning, excuse me. Some people are saying it's borderline. I'm here to say right now that Eli Manning, yes, he is a Hall of Famer. You win the Super Bowl twice, that's not a fluke. 7th all-time in passing yards, that's not a fluke. You beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick on the grandest stage twice in 5 years. That's a Hall of Famer. So I don't want to hear some of these other analysts that are saying, oh, well, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer because he's thrown a lot of interceptions. Yeah, of course he did. But so did Brett Favre. And Brett Favre's a Hall of Famer. And Brett Favre only won 1 Super Bowl. Eli Manning, yes, absolutely, he is a Hall of Famer, no doubt. So, moving forward to baseball, and again, we come back to it. The biggest talk is the scandal. There's only one thing, and that is the sign stealing scandal. Astros fired their coach. Now they interviewed 7 people, 7 possible candidates. And the front runner for the next manager of the Houston Astros is, drumroll please, Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker hasn't managed in Major League Baseball in, I want to say, 3, maybe 4 years. Could be wrong about that. Dusty Baker has managed 3,500 games in the National League throughout his career. He's obviously played as a player more than 3,500 games. But this would be the first time, if they were to put the pen to the paper and Dusty Baker signs with the Houston Astros, this would be the first time that he would cross over to the American League. You would have to go all the way back to the 1960s that a manager crossed over from one league to the other and spent the longest time in one league. I believe it was 2,925 games for that specific manager. Tony La Russa, he was another one. He spent about 2,600 games in the American League before shifting to St. Louis. But now, since Dusty Baker is the front runner, and you have all this talk about, Jose Altuve, puffing out his chest saying, we're going to be back in the World Series once again. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You have a lot of personalities on that team. And you have a lot of egos now that are not just bruised, but have a chip on their shoulder. And now you bring in Dusty Baker. Are the players going to respond to Dusty Baker? That's the big question. And with Dusty Baker being out of the league for an extended period of time, is this the correct fit? I don't know. Time will tell there. Me personally, I think they should have hired Buck Showalter. But again, Dusty Baker is a more than qualified manager. More than qualified. World Series champion, a player, a manager. I mean, once again, he is more than qualified to become the manager of the Houston Astros. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all I have for you today. To be honest, real quick, when I see you next on Saturday, February the 1st, it will be the Super Bowl show where I preview both teams, give you my prediction, and fingers crossed, hope I'm right. Also, too, this Friday, also a very happy anniversary to my parents, Chris and Patty. 36 years of marriage. Congratulations to you guys. And for everyone else, thank you very much for tuning in to Simply Sports. Make sure you find me on YouTube, Simply Sports with Andy Williams. Find me on Facebook, on CATV6 at 1 o'clock, rebroadcast at 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock every Wednesday night. And for Michael Flint, Marshall Miles, Brian Oler, thank you very much for tuning into Simply Sports. And 1, 4, 3, rest in peace, Mamba.